Now, I want to start off and say that really the key that we need to begin with is we need to start thinking about how do we solve problems with this new technology. And I'm going to start off with a really simple example of what we have to start thinking about and how we have to start conceptualizing things differently. We have to look for problems that we couldn't solve easily before, or we had to solve in a much more expensive and different way. So I'm going to start with a really simple example. So I was at dinner the other night, and I was with a friend, and he was a lawyer, and he looked at me and he said, I've never used ChatGPT or any of this generative AI stuff because it makes so many mistakes. And I said, really? And I was totally shocked, somewhat horrified, but then I really felt bad for him because I knew I wasn't going to shut up the rest of the night. And so I started off and I snapped this picture of the table and I said, who needs a refill? And I gave it to generative AI and it comes back and it says, it looks like the glass with ice water is still fairly full while the beer bottle seems to be nearly empty. So someone might want a refill on the beer soon. Now, I just want to take a second to go back and look at this photograph. If you had given this to most computer scientists or teams of computer scientists and you'd said, build me a system that can detect if somebody needs a refill or not on an arbitrary table, it would have been extraordinarily difficult. It's still difficult today if you're not using generative AI. But somebody with generative AI can simply snap a picture, snap the contents of the table in an image, and then put in a little simple question, who needs a refill? And they've built a refill detector. This technology is so powerful that it allows people to go and build things without even realizing that they're building an incredibly complicated and powerful system that teams of computer scientists could not have built before. All it takes is a question and a photograph and the knowledge that these things are possible to start thinking about how do we solve problems like this differently rather than going and hiring teams of PhDs and computer scientists to try to build some complicated, refill detector. We simply go and start capturing pictures and asking the right question.